This is Bob Capetta from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and this lesson is on factoring trinomials. Our first example is x squared plus 5x plus 6, and I'm going to factor that using a factor box. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. The first term, x squared, goes in the lower left corner. The last term, plus 6, goes in the upper right. In the middle term, plus 5x, goes outside in the corner. So this times this has to equal x squared, and the only reasonable choice is x times x. So we're going to have x times x equaling x squared in that position. Now we need to think about choices for 6. Now you could think of 6 times 1, but that's not going to work. 6 times x would be 6x, 1 times x would be 1x. 6x plus 1x is not 5x. Instead, we're going to use plus 3 and plus 2. Notice 3 times x, multiplying this way, this is the length, this is the width. 3 times x is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Once we've done that, we have successfully factored it. Checking it, x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Everything works. So when I factor this, I will get x plus 3 times x plus 2 equaling x squared plus 5x plus 6. Let's look at another example. Here I have x squared minus 3x minus 4. First term lower left corner, last term upper right corner, middle term out here in the outside position. And then we think, how do we build x squared? Again, the only reasonable choice is x times x. Now how to build negative 4? Positive 1 times negative 4, negative 1 times positive 4, negative 2 times positive 2. We have a few choices, but we need to think, how are we going to get these two pieces to add up to negative 3x? So you'll notice I'm going to use negative 4 here and positive 1 there. When I do that, negative 4 times x will have negative 4x here. Positive 1 times x is positive 1x here. Negative 4x and positive 1x will give me my negative 3x, and that will be properly factored. So by making that choice, the result will be x minus 4 times x plus 1. Again, checking, x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. Adding them together, x squared negative 4x plus 1x is negative 3x minus 4. So when this is factored, we will get x minus 4 times x plus 1. That will be the factored version of x squared minus 3x minus 4. My next example is x squared minus 25. You will notice there's no middle term. There's no x term. So first term here, x squared. Last term here, negative 25. The middle term is 0x. It's not there. So we'll put 0x out in the corner, and then we will try to factor this. To build x squared, the only reasonable choice is x times x. To build negative 25, you could go negative 25 times 1. That's not going to work. Positive 25 times negative 1. That's not going to work. What will work? How about negative 5 times positive 5? But first we need x times x is x squared here. And then thinking of the negative 25, negative 5 and positive 5, you'll notice negative 5 times x in this slot will be negative 5x. Positive 5 times x will be positive 5x here. Negative 5x and positive 5x will give me 0x, and that will be properly factored. So the result of x squared minus 25 will be x minus 5 times x plus 5. That's our result. So when the leading coefficient is 1, this is relatively easy to do. It gets significantly more challenging when the leading coefficient is something other than 1. For example, 2x squared plus 11x minus 6. Our process is still the same. First term here, 2x squared. Last term here, negative 6. Middle term, plus 11x. So 2x squared. How are we going to build 2x squared? Only reasonable choice is 2x times x. And it doesn't matter where you put it. I've chosen to do it this way, 2x on the bottom, x on the side. Now there are many ways to make negative 6. 2 times 3, one of them is negative. 1 times 6, one of them is negative. So we have many choices, and we need to figure out where we're going to put this so that the middle piece adds up to 11x. So you've got to try some things and see what happens, and see which of those choices is going to give you the 11x. Now, when I see 11 with a 2 and a 6, I'm thinking maybe 12 minus 1 is something that I want to use. So let's see what I decided to do. Indeed, we went with plus 6 up there, minus 1 down there, because 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. 6 times 2x is 12x in this slot. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x in that slot. 12x minus 1x does give me my middle term of 11x. So again, checking that, 12x minus 1x is 11x. Check all of the other pieces. X times 2x is 2x squared. Check. 6 times 2x is 12x. Check. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Check. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. Check. So I've successfully factored this into x plus 6 times 2x minus 1. All right, so let's continue in that vein. We're going to look at trinomials where the first term has a coefficient other than 1. That indeed makes it significantly more challenging. Many more things you've got to try. 6x squared plus 7x minus 20. First term here, 6x squared. Last term there, minus 20. Middle term plus 7x. Now the problem here is you have two choices for 6x squared, either 3x times 2x or 6x times 1x. And you just have to try it until you find one that works. But you should always start with the two factors that are closer together. So for my initial trial, I'm going to go with 3x times 2x. Now to build negative 20, one of them is going to have to be negative and one of them is going to have to be positive. But what are all your choices? 20 times 1, 10 times 2, 5 times 4, and then switch the order. So there's many things you're going to have to try. But you need these two slots to add up to positive 7x. So what did I find that actually worked here? Negative 4 times positive 5 is negative 20. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. 3x times 5 is 15x. Negative 8x plus 15x is indeed 7x. So let's go ahead and put that stuff in there. 15x minus 8x is 7x, so I believe I've successfully factored this. But again, we should check. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Negative 8x plus 15x is 7x. It looks good. So my result will be 3x minus 4 going this way, 2x plus 5 going that way. Okay. And our last example is 15x squared minus 41x plus 14. So this looks pretty complicated, but the process is still the same. Lower left-hand corner is the first term, 15x squared. Upper right corner is the last term, plus 14. With negative 41x out here, we're going to try to get these two slots to add up to negative 41x. So what are my choices for 15x squared? Well, 3x and 5x, 15x times 1x. And when you're beginning, you should always try the two factors that are closest together. So I'm going to try 3x and 5x first and see if there's some way I can get positive 14x to make that work. Now you notice this middle slot is negative 41x, but I need to get positive 14 here. So the only way that's possible is if both of these numbers are negative. If both of these numbers are negative, this will be negative, this will be negative, and the sum could be negative. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So that gives us a little bit of a hint in terms of what we should use in terms of our attempts for 14. So if they both should be negative, what are our choices? Negative 1, negative 14, negative 2, negative 7, or switch the order. So try all of them until you find a pair that actually works. So what did I try? I tried negative 7 up here and negative 2 down there. Does that give me negative 41x? Well, let's think about it. Negative 7 times 5x, negative 35x here. Negative 2 times 3x, negative 6x there. Negative 35x and negative 6x indeed is negative 41x. So this appears to be factored correctly. But again, we should always go back and check each one of these cells to make sure we've done it correctly. 3x times 5x is 15x squared, check. Negative 7 times 5x is negative 35x, check. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x, check. Negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14, check. And then adding these things together, negative 35x and negative 6x gives us negative 41x, check. So the final result of 15x squared minus 41x plus 14 will be 3x minus 7 times 5x minus 2. And that will conclude this lesson.